A lot of people ask me about how a market could exist without a government. Um, and I think a lot of this confusion comes from misunderstandings about what money is. A lot of people feel that money is just some arbitrary piece of paper with a guy's face on it. And that's not all money is. That's state-issued currency, specifically. But this currency is tied to actual resources. This money isn't completely valueless. Well, nowadays it is. But before 1970, in this country, we had our dollars tied to hard resources, gold and silver specifically. So you could take your dollar notes into the Federal Reserve, I guess. I'm really not too keen on that. But in exchange, these paper notes for actual um, valuable resources. Before we had standardized currency in this country, we have an open barter system where people generally use some sort of standardized commodity. Gold or silver is generally pretty common. And what ends up happening is when you have like large transactions made, people make IOU notes or credits for these large chunks of resource exchange. Anyway, eventually somebody feels like, oh, we need to standardize this currency. In the United States, it is illegal to use any other form of currency, though, than the U.S. dollar. So this gives the United States government effectively a great level of control over the market, because it can control the value of its dollars. Essentially, when you detach the currency that you use from a hard currency, it becomes what they call a fiat currency, which is essentially just backed by hope and good faith in your country. Generally, people look at this as a form of debt because if you have to start printing up funny money, it's because you don't have hard resources to tie them to anymore. So, generally, fiat currency is looked at as debt. Markets could develop easily on their own without some sort of government protection. Contractual agreements could be upheld by impromptu courts. I've talked about that before. Informal, non-standing courts of your peers. Anybody operating within a community is going to have a vested interest in presenting themselves to the best of their ability, or upholding their contracts. In light of the fact that they don't want to have to jump from community to community because they keep screwing people over and screwing up their contracts. So people will have a vested interest in maintaining the community to a degree. Already talked about currency. We don't need to standardize currency, really. Whatever people are willing to accept as trade is what they're willing to accept. Competition between currencies like that, breeds progress, lowers prices. So, long story short, a government's not needed to develop a market or maintain a market. Business practices that are unjust or unfair, the market will regulate these. It happens all the time. People don't like sweatshops in China, so a lot of people refuse to shop at Walmart, that kind of thing. So, the market has a way of regulating itself. Currency is not something that requires a state to maintain and standardize by any means. The state does not create a market. I had somebody telling me that states create markets, and if this were true, how would two states cooperate between each other? There's no higher authority creating this market between the two lower states. It's just spontaneous order. It's just people exchanging goods and commodities. If you have any questions or comments, you can post them on the video. Thank you. Y'all be safe.